genius. Now, I was told by my assistant that this very first clip was going to be a bit of a wild one. Let's take a look and find out why.
Now, I want to be upfront with you on this one. This footage was sent in to us, and we actually took some time to look into it. We tried to verify where it came from, who recorded it, anything that could confirm to us if it's real or not. And the truth is, well, we couldn't find anything solid. So take it for what it is, and as always, let us know what you think. In the clip, a young girl is holding a doll. Everything seems normal at first. Then out of nowhere, the doll slowly turns its head and looks directly at her. Not a quick twitch, not some stiff movement. It turns in a way that feels natural, almost like something alive is controlling it. And the girl notices immediately. She freezes for a split second, then completely freaks out and drops the doll, which, to be fair, is probably exactly how most people would react in that moment. Another detail that stands out is the quality of the footage. It looks old, not just low quality, but genuinely aged, and that's where things get a bit more interesting. If this was recorded before advanced editing tools became widely accessible, then the ways this could have been faked become a lot more limited. That does not mean it's real, but it does narrow the possibilities. Could it be a prank with some kind of hidden mechanism? Well, maybe, but the movement is so smooth that it doesn't feel mechanical. It doesn't look like something powered by gears or a simple motor, which leaves you with a few possibilities, and none of them are very comforting. A haunted doll, a very well-executed prank, or something else entirely. Well, you've seen it play out, so what does it look like to you? This next one comes out of Mexico, and it's the one people have been talking about for a while now. A shop owner was working alone late at night when they noticed something strange happening outside. Whatever it was enough to make them call the police. And while waiting, they stayed back and started recording, keeping their distance from whatever was moving around near the shop. Then the police arrived, and they approached the gate to take a closer look, and that is when it happened. Something suddenly comes out from the darkness. At first, it looks like it's moving on two legs. For a brief moment, you might even think it was a person. But then it drops down onto all fours and takes off into the night. The movement is what really throws you off. It doesn't move like a dog. It doesn't look like a human. It doesn't quite match anything familiar. There is this strange transition in the way it shifts its posture as it runs, and it's hard to ignore. The shop owner described it as a shapeshifter, and honestly, watching how it moves, the description doesn't sound as far-fetched as it usually would. Another detail that makes this clip interesting is when it was recorded. This was captured before AI tools became advanced enough to generate convincing creature movement like this, which removes one of the easiest explanations people tend to fall back on. That does not prove what it is, but it does make the clip harder to brush off. So what exactly was caught outside that shop in Mexico that night? You've seen how it moves. Does it look like anything that's explainable to you?
Now, I was told by my assistant that this very first clip was going to be a bit of a wild one. Let's take a look and find out why.
Mire, como duendecitos. Están construyendo casas. Qué raro. Shh, no haga ruido. Nos pueden ver. ¿Nos vio? Vámonos.
Goblins building, what, like a little commune in the middle of the jungle? Is this what it's supposed to be? I won't even speak the obvious two-letter word that I want to speak in the vernacular over this, quite frankly.
Mire, como duendecitos. Están construyendo casas. Qué raro. Shh, no haga ruido. Nos pueden ver. ¿Nos vio? Vámonos.
Now that is what you call a hailstorm. Man, it looks like a sea, but this is obviously a road. That's crazy, man. Is that real? Massive sized hail and floods are hitting parts of Saudi Arabia. My God. If that's real, it's like damn Judgment Day. That's all I can say. That's crazy. What do you guys think? Is that real? Is that real?
There's a theory that's been floating around aviation circles for a while now, and once you hear it, it kinda sticks with you. You know that moment on a flight when the crew starts the safety demonstration, seatbelt, oxygen mask, all of that, and then they show you the brace position, head down, hands over the back of your head. We're all told that it's the safest position to be in during a crash, but there are people who believe that that's not the full story. According to this theory, the brace position is not really about protecting you. The idea is that the airline crash survivors often sue and walk away with huge compensation. So instead of dealing with survivors, the theory claims it would be easier to reduce the chances of anyone making it out alive. And this is where it gets uncomfortable. The claim is that the brace position puts pressure on your neck and spine in a way that could actually make a crash more deadly, not less. That instead of protecting you, it increases the risk of fatal injury on impact. It's the kind of thought that changes how you hear the safety briefing the next time. But here is what the actual data says. The brace position has been tested over and over again, and the results are pretty clear. In crashes that people can survive, it actually helps. It reduces how much your body gets thrown around, protects your head from hitting the seat in front, and keeps you in a position that handles impact better. Aviation safety researchers have looked into this across multiple studies, and they all point in the same direction. The brace position does what it's supposed to do. Still, the theory has not gone anywhere, maybe because it sounds just believable enough to make you pause for a second. Now that you heard both sides, what do you think? A man in Whetstone, Arizona was outside his home one night when something in the sky caught his attention and he started filming. What he captured is hard to ignore. There was a bright orb moving steadily across the sky, not darting around, not flickering in and out, just a constant, controlled movement. And right behind it, you can clearly see a helicopter, its blinking lights visible as it follows closely behind. At first, you might think it's something ordinary, but then you watch a little longer. The orb is not behaving like a drone, it's not drifting like a lantern, it doesn't slow down, change direction randomly, or lose altitude. It just keeps moving forward at a steady pace, always staying just out of reach. The helicopter looks like it's trying to close the gap, but it never quite gets there. And the more you focus on it, the stranger it feels. Even when the camera zooms in over and over again, the shape of the orb doesn't change. It stays consistent, no visible structure, no flicker, nothing to suggest what it actually is. Then toward the end of the footage, the man mentions something else. He says he can smell something in the air. It sounds like a small detail, but it stands out. There have been multiple documented UAP encounters where witnesses report unusual smells during sightings. Ozone, burning, metallic scents. It's one of those details that doesn't prove anything on its own, but adds another layer of what's already being seen. And then there's the part that's hardest to overlook. That helicopter. This is not just a random light in the sky anymore. A helicopter actively chasing it suggests that someone in an official capacity also saw it, tracked it, and decided it was worth following. And whatever it was, they couldn't catch it. So now you have the full picture. A steadily moving orb, a helicopter in pursuit, a detail in the air that should not be there. So what do you think they were trying to catch?
Yo. That is a freaking being chased by a helicopter. What the hell? That is a straight up orb, dude. Being followed by a freaking helicopter. What the hell? I just now pulled up. Smells like something's burning. That is nuts.
A taxi driver was on the road late at night when he came across something that didn't make sense. On the side of the road, there was a man standing inside a circle of lit candles, not moving, not reacting, just standing there completely still, surrounded by flickering light in the middle of the night. It's already the kind of scene that makes you slow down without even thinking about it. And then it gets worse. Within a few seconds, the man simply starts to fade. No sudden cut, no jump, he just dissipates into thin air, leaving behind a faint, hazy trace of where he'd been standing moments before. Gone. What makes this harder to brush off is how clean the disappearance looks. When videos are edited, especially older ones, you usually notice it. The edges look sharp or something feels off when the effect happens. But here, it fades out smoothly. No harsh lines, no obvious break in the footage, just a gradual disappearance that feels a little too natural. Then there's the setup itself. That circle of candles is not random. Across different cultures and traditions, candle circles are used in rituals, protection, summoning, transitions between states. It depends on who you ask, but the meaning is rarely casual. And seeing someone standing inside one right before vanishing adds a very specific kind of tension to the whole scene. Now, this could well be an executed video trick, but, well, is that possible? Well, the way it plays out makes that harder to settle on comfortably, which leaves you with another possibility. That taxi driver may have driven past something he was never meant to see at the exact moment it was happening. Take a look at it again. What do you think was really going on there? On April the 13th, a 5.7 magnitude earthquake struck Fallon, Nevada. And that's not even the part that has people talking. An eyewitness who happened to be out in the area captured something that's genuinely hard to process. After the earthquake hit, he came across a crack in the ground, not a small fracture, a massive split stretching for what looks like miles, cutting through the fault line. And from inside that crack, smoke is rising. Not dust, not debris, actual smoke lifting out of the earth as if something beneath the surface is still active. It's the kind of sight that makes you stop and question what you're looking at. Now, there's a scientific explanation for this. After seismic activity, gases and heat trapped underground can escape through newly formed cracks. Geologists have documented this happening before. It's real. But knowing that and seeing it are two very different things, because on camera it feels different. The scale of the crack, the way the smoke rises out of it, it doesn't feel like a simple after effect. It feels like something deeper is going on beneath the surface. And of course, the internet has already taken it further. Some people are linking it to a larger seismic pattern happening across the country. Others are pointing toward possible volcanic activity. And then there are those who believe this is something that goes beyond what science can currently explain. Now, you got the footage, you got the explanation. Now it comes down to what you believe you're really looking at. Was this just the aftermath of a regular earthquake, or does it feel like something bigger is shifting beneath the ground? There are still parts of this world we don't fully understand, and every now and then something like this shows up to remind you of that. Take a look what's sitting in that person's hand. It's not a toy, not an animation, not something generated. This is real, a living creature known as a Raspy cricket, and what it's doing right there in the palm is not something you'd expect from a cricket. It's producing silk. Watch closely. It's actually trying to stitch the space around it, pulling strands from its own body and laying them down with intention. The movement's small, almost delicate, but once you notice what's happening, it completely changes how you see it. This ain't random behavior. Raspy crickets are mostly found in parts of Asia, and they're nocturnal. During the day, they stay hidden, and this is how they do it. They use that silk to stitch leaves together, building shelters that keep them out of sight and protected from predators. And the silk itself is not weak. It's structurally similar to spider silk, strong enough to hold those shelters together and keep them intact. For something that looks like a regular cricket at first glance, well, that's a detail most people never see coming. It's one of those creatures that exists quietly, doing something incredible, while most people have no idea it's even out there. And now you're watching it up close. If you ever find yourself in this situation with one of those on your hand, there's probably no need to panic. Just give it a moment, and if it's not trying to harm anything, it's just doing what it knows how to do, building something one thread at a time. A homeowner in Illinois had been dealing with things in their house they couldn't explain, and over time they became convinced the place was haunted. So they did what most people would probably think to do in that situation. They set up motion-activated cameras around the house just to capture whatever had been moving through the night. In February 2026, one of those cameras caught something. In the middle of a hallway, a figure appears. It looks like a young girl, a clearly defined shape standing still in an otherwise empty house in the middle of the night. No one else is visible, no obvious source, just that moment frozen on camera. The homeowner insists the footage is real and has not changed their position on it. And when you look at it, the figure doesn't immediately show the usual signs of distortion or obvious manipulation that you tend to see in edited clips. It looks, at least on the surface, like something that was simply there when the motion sensor triggered. Cases like this are often what fuel the wider conversation around so-called child apparitions. They're some of the most frequently reported figures in haunted locations. Some interpretations suggest it's linked to emotional or environmental residue, where younger presences are believed to manifest more clearly. Others argue it's tied to perception, memory, or the way the brain tries to make sense of low light and ambiguous shapes in familiar spaces. And then there are the people who believe it is exactly what it looks like, a presence in the house that doesn't belong to the living. Either way, this homeowner is not just dealing with strange noises anymore. They're dealing with something that was caught on camera. And once you have that kind of footage, the question changes. It's no longer about what they think is happening. It becomes what you think you're actually seeing. Now here's a lesson that nobody should really have to learn the hard way. If you move into a Victorian home and find something buried in the backyard, the safest option is simple. Leave it alone or call someone who actually knows how to handle it. Don't pick it up, don't clean it, and definitely don't try to use it. But of course, that's not what happened here. A woman bought a Victorian house, and after renovations were nearly complete, she found something buried in the backyard, a goat horn. Now on its own, that already feels unsettling. A goat horn buried in the ground of a home that's over 100 years old, built in a time where all kinds of rituals and practices were not exactly uncommon behind closed doors. It's the kind of discovery that most people would stop and question, but she didn't leave it there. She picked it up, cleaned it, and decided to blow into it. And almost immediately after that, things started to go wrong. Her phone suddenly lost signal completely and eventually had to be replaced. Then she began experiencing something she cannot fully explain. Dreams that don't feel like her own. Memories that she insists belong to someone else. And strange symbols that she later noticed etched into the horn itself. Whatever she interacted with, she believes it changed something. And now she regrets ever touching it. What makes it more unsettling is that she's not stopped posting about it. She's still sharing updates, still trying to make sense of what's happening to her, still looking for answers that don't seem to be coming. The question is no longer just about the object she found, it's about what it may have set in motion the moment she decided to use it.
Should I blow it?
Nobody's home. What could possibly happen? I mean, it's just orange.
Smells bad.
And yet.
I don't even know what happened. Like, and I had to go out and buy a new phone to talk to you guys. Look, it won't turn on. Like, my phone is dead. I don't know. It fried my phone.
Now we know octopuses are basically very intelligent creatures, but I had no idea they're as smooth as this.
I guess you wonder where I've been.
Genius.
I guess you wonder where I've been.
I mean, that's stealth, man. That's stealth. I bet there's every good-looking woman on the planet hopes that she actually has that kind of stealth in a nightclub, so when she sees the guy walking up to her going, "Hey, baby, can I buy you a drink, huh? Get your coat you pulled." She can just, like, suddenly put herself against the wall and act like she's not there. That's cool.
I guess you wonder where I've been.
The first moon landing has always carried a weight of questions alongside its achievement, and now the Artemis 2 mission is bringing that conversation back into focus in a very public way. A post-mission interview from the mission is currently circulating online, and it's the moment that has people talking. During the interview, a female astronaut is asked a question and begins answering it normally. Everything seems steady at first. Then midway through her response, she suddenly pauses. She seems to lose her train of thought for a brief moment. And when she continues, the sentence that follows does not quite connect with what she's saying before. It feels like the direction of her answer shifts unexpectedly, almost as if she's picked up a different thread entirely. That small break is what people have latched onto. Some viewers have even edited the clip and joked that someone in an earpiece must have been feeding her lines and she struggled to follow them properly. It's framed as humor, but it's naturally fueled more serious speculation among those already skeptical of space missions. And from there, the conversation has gone in the direction you'd expect. Some are using it as supposed proof that past moon landings were staged, including the original Apollo missions. But there are far more grounded explanations that don't require going that far. Public interviews after high-intensity missions are not simple. These astronauts are dealing with physical exhaustion, disrupted sleep cycles, and the pressure of being placed in front of cameras immediately after returning from an extreme environment. Even small cognitive delays or phrasing mistakes can become very noticeable in that state. Still, moments like this tend to take on a life of their own. Because once doubt is introduced, people start connecting it to older doubts that never fully went away. And the moon landing debate is one of those topics that always seem ready to resurface. So the question becomes less about one interview clip, and more about why a brief moment of hesitation can reopen a conversation humanity never fully closed.
When we saw Tiny Earth, people asked our crew what impressions we had. And honestly, what struck me wasn't necessarily just Earth, it was all the blackness around it. Earth was just this lifeboat hanging undisturbingly in the universe. So,
if you want to see some of the most unsettling moments people randomly capture in everyday life, sometimes all you gotta do is look at what happens on a street corner in New York. That is exactly what happened here. A man was parked on the side of the road when someone suddenly walked up to his window asking to use his phone to make a call. On the surface, that's not unusual in a busy city. People ask for help all the time. But it's the person in the clip that immediately changes the tone. Her teeth appear badly worn, her face extremely gaunt and hollow, like she's not eaten properly in a long time. And what really stands out are her eyes, dark, sunken, almost empty in a way that's hard to ignore. It gives the impression of someone who's barely holding on. It's the kind of moment that makes people online react instantly, with many comparing her appearance to something out of a post-apocalyptic film. The kind of imagery you would expect from something like The Walking Dead. But not everyone sees it as something strange or unexplained. Some point out that this is, unfortunately, not unheard of in large cities. People struggling with homelessness or addiction can sometimes appear severely deteriorated, both physically and mentally, and that reality can look shocking when captured suddenly on camera. Still, the way moments like this are recorded and shared online often strips away context. You only get a few seconds, a brief interaction, and a face without a story attached to it, which is why reactions tend to split so sharply. Some people see something staged or exaggerated for attention, others see the very real effects of long-term struggle playing out in plain sight, and that leaves you with a very difficult question. Is this just another internet clip being pushed for shock value, or is it simply a moment where reality looks more disturbing than people are used to seeing?
Can I use your phone to call someone?
A group of young men were out at night just taking a walk and passing time when they started hearing something strange coming from the side of the road. At first, it's the kind of sound you almost ignore. Night noises, distant movement, nothing that should really make you stop. But this time, they do stop. And instead of walking away like most people probably would, they do the opposite. They pull out their phones, switch on the torches, and move closer to figure out what's making the noise. What follows is even more unsettling. We never actually see what's causing it, and honestly, that might be the most disturbing part of the entire clip. All we get is the audio, a deep, low moan coming from the darkness. It's not sharp, it's not random. It carries in a way that feels heavy, like it's coming from something large, something that takes up space out there in the dark. You can hear the depth in it, the way it seems to move through the air rather than just sit in one place. And because you cannot see the source, your mind starts filling in the gaps. Some people in the comments claim they can make out movement, faint shadows shifting in the background. Others say it's just the camera adjusting to the dark. Looking at it, there's nothing more clearly unidentifiable, nothing you can confidently point to, but the sound does most of the work here. It doesn't feel like a small animal, it doesn't sound like a dog or a fox or anything you'd normally expect near a road at night. It sounds bigger than that, and that's where things start to split. Some will say it's just a large animal moving through the area, something like a bear or another predator caught at the edge of visibility. Others will go straight to something more unknown, something harder to explain, something that doesn't fit into the usual list of answers. Either way, the question stays the same. If it's something ordinary, why does it feel so wrong when you hear it in the dark?
सॉरी यार अरे यू भाई वो देखो मम्मी मेरी बात सुनी नहीं अरे वहां पर खड़ा वो और मेरी बात सुन बच्चा मतलब मैं सुने बच्चा मैं कह रहा हूँ अरे बच्चा नहीं यू भाई बड़ा है यार ये देखा है मेरे को यार वहां तो कैमरे की यार पूरी पूंछ वगैरह पूरी देखी मैंने क्या किया यू भाई इससे तो नहीं कोई देना.
A group of men were riding motorcycles through rural Indonesia when they noticed something strange cutting across the forest line. At first, it's hard to even process what they're looking at. A ball of fire. Not a small flicker or distant glow, but a full floating mass of flames moving through the trees, drifting between the forest edges as they ride past. It's the kind of sight that forces you to slow down and question whether your eyes are playing tricks on you, because nothing about it feels like it belongs there, and yet it's clearly visible in the footage. What makes moments like this even more interesting is how they connect to older stories that exist long before any of this was ever filmed. Across different cultures, there are long-standing legends describing similar phenomena. In Indonesian folklore, there are accounts of fiery entities seen moving through the forests and rural areas. Similar descriptions also appear in parts of Caribbean traditions, Latin American stories, and other regions with no obvious connection to each other. In many of these accounts, these lights or fire-like forms are interpreted as spirits of the dead or supernatural forces passing through the physical world. Whether you see them as folklore or something else, the descriptions are surprisingly consistent. Which is why footage like this tends to spark so much debate when it appears online. Some see it as a natural phenomenon that's simply misunderstood or poorly captured on camera. Others see it as another example of something people have been describing for centuries, now being recorded in real time. And that leads to the bigger question people keep circling back to. Is this just coincidence and interpretation layered over unusual natural events, or are these sightings pointing to something people have been encountering far longer than modern explanations can account for?
Baka percaya guys. Anjing! Mabur anjing! Wey! Wey! Main?
One of the most unsettling situations you can find yourself in is when you go looking for something and instead you find nothing at all. Now, we've seen plenty of cases like this on this channel. This one comes from a private investigator based out of East Texas, someone people refer to as Sherlock Homegirl. She was called out by a client who believed someone was squatting on their property, so she took keys, went over and began a routine sweep of the house. Standard procedure: check the rooms, clear each space, rule out any signs of forced entry. Except nothing about this felt standard. From the moment she stepped inside, she noticed something odd. The lights were turning on by themselves. According to the situation, there should have been no power changes like that, and more importantly, no one with access to the property. She continued anyway. And as she moved deeper into the house, she heard something that made her stop. A voice, clear enough that there was no mistaking it. It told her she should not be there, and what makes it even more unsettling is that it reportedly used her name, a detail she says very few people actually know. At that point, she left immediately, but the story does not end there. When she later reviewed footage she recorded while talking about the experience, something even stranger appeared in the background audio. A faint voice, almost buried under normal sound, but seems to say one word. Why? And that raises a question that's harder to dismiss than the investigation itself. If the house was empty, then what exactly was responding to her?
So with the key that she gave us, I made entry to the house. I said, private investigator, is there anybody here? And there's nothing. However, upstairs, I did hear somebody walking, and it wasn't like a regular walk. It was like a slow dragging walk, like the boogeyman from goddamn Powerpuff Girls type of walk. Like they was stepping, but they wouldn't lift to their feet. Now my black ass should have got up out of there, but I didn't. So I noticed it was coming from the same room with a light turned on it. I go upstairs. The light's on, but there's nobody there. I looked in all the closets, I looked everywhere. As I was going downstairs, something said, "Leslie, you're not supposed to be here." And I mean it just like that. I didn't tell anybody my name. Everybody only knows me as Sherlock Homegirl or Investigator McAdoo. I didn't tell anybody my name.
A homeowner recently shared security footage from outside their house, and it has people talking. The property sits near a wooded area, and in the middle of the night, the camera picked up something moving in from the darkness toward the house. At first glance, it looks like an orb, but when you slow the footage down and really pay attention, it becomes something else entirely. It's not just a glowing light. It appears to be a ball of fire, actual flames moving through the air as if they're being carried by something you can't see. And as it passes over the ground, there's a detail that immediately stands out. You can see a faint reflection of the fire beneath it, tracking along the surface as it moves. That's the kind of detail that makes people pause, because reflections like that are not always easy to fake convincingly. Now, of course, the first question in today's world is always the same. Could this be AI-generated or digitally altered? And that possibility cannot be ignored. We've reached a point where footage like this can be created in ways that look increasingly realistic. But even with that in mind, something about this clip doesn't immediately fall apart under scrutiny. It holds your attention in a way that makes you keep replaying it. So the question shifts. If it's not a simple edit, then what are we actually seeing? Some will point to natural explanations like rare atmospheric events such as ball lightning phenomena that are still not fully understood. Others might suggest something more mechanical like a drone fitted with a flame source, though it raises its own questions about control and visibility in that environment. And then there are those who interpret it differently entirely as something tied to folklore or unseen forces, especially given how often wooded areas are associated with similar sightings across different stories and cultures. But none of those answers feel fully settled when you watch it in real time. So what exactly is moving through the night outside that house, just beyond the trees? Now, I really didn't want to have to talk about this one, but here we are. There's growing concern among a lot of people about where basic understanding is headed, and clips like this are exactly why that conversation keeps popping up. In this video, a woman is about to expose something she's discovered about Apple Pay, and naturally people were curious because when someone frames it like that, you expect some kind of shocking revelation, something about hidden fees, corporate tricks, or back-end systems most people don't know about. But then she explains it. Apple Pay takes money from your account. That's it. That's the big moment. Now, to be clear, Apple Pay is simply a payment method. It links your debit or credit card to your phone so you can pay digitally. The money still comes from your bank account or card, just like it would if you tapped a physical card or entered it online. There's no hidden transfer happening in the background, no secret deduction beyond the transaction itself. It's just a different way of using the same money. And that's where the reaction starts to shift from confusion to concern, because what's being pointed out here is not really about Apple Pay itself, it's about the level of understanding behind how everyday systems work. In a world where technology handles most transactions for us automatically, it becomes easier to use these tools without ever thinking about what's actually happening underneath. Tap, pay, done. No visible exchange, no physical cash, no real sense of movement. So when someone encounters that process without that background knowledge, even something simple can sound like a discovery. And that's the uncomfortable part. Not the technology, but the gap in understanding what it reveals. Which leads to a bigger question that a lot of people are now asking. How many other everyday systems are being used daily without people actually understanding how they work?
If you use Apple Pay, honestly, just be so careful. This is a little embarrassing to admit, but if this could help one person, then I'm really willing to share what my experience was. I'm just gonna lay it out like this. When you use Apple Pay, that's real money. That's true American dollars from your credit card. If you have your credit card connected, that's where the money is being sourced from. It's not like a special form of Apple Pay, Apple dollars. Why they don't just say this is real money while you're paying, I don't know. Because I thought that I had accumulated a bunch of Apple dollars to use for Apple Pay by, spending so much time on my phone, giving my data very freely and willingly to any place that asks, like whatever they say, are cookies okay? I say yes, 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 because I thought that's how I was getting prizes, getting rewards, getting Apple dollars. So I didn't think that was real money till I checked my credit card bill. I've been spending money like I'm a friggin' millionaire. I got hair mousse. I have straight hair. My hair doesn't even hold mousse. I call Apple to straighten things out. I go, could I please speak with Mr. Steve Jobs? They go, he's no longer with us.
Speaking of things that sound like they should concern everyone, this one tends to catch people off guard. Apparently, people are buying placentas, and before you dismiss it, the actual conversation behind it is a lot more layered than it first sounds. In this clip, two women are having a very serious discussion about what happens to the placenta after birth, and for most people, it's not something they ever really think about. The baby's delivered, the placenta follows, and after that, it's handled in the background by medical staff. Most patients never ask what happens next. But according to what's being discussed here, that's where things get interesting. The claim is that placentas can be highly valuable, with some discussions placing their worth in the thousands. In certain cases, they're used in medical and scientific research because of what they contain biologically, including stem cells that are of interest in regenerative medicine and laboratory studies. And that's where the conversation starts to shift, because while most people assume it's simply medical waste being disposed of, there are contexts where biological materials like this are collected, studied, and in some cases used in research pipelines, and that part is real in a general scientific sense. However, the idea that hospitals are routinely quietly selling placentas to make money is where things become much less clear and often gets exaggerated online. In most standard medical systems, tissue handling is regulated, and anything used for research typically follows consent procedures and strict guidelines. There are also legitimate culture and personal practices where some parents choose to retain the placenta for reasons such as burial rituals or encapsulation, which is already a known and documented practice in some communities. So what you end up with is a mix of real science, regulated medical use, cultural practices, and a lot of online interpretation layered on top. And that's usually where content like this becomes misleading, because it takes a real biological fact and stretches it into something more suspicious than it actually is. The real question is not whether placentas have value in research, because they do in specific contexts. It's how easily information like this turns into something that sounds far more secretive than the system actually is.
Babies are full of stem cells. That placenta is so chock full of stem cells, which is why placentas are sold at a huge price on the market. They run about $50,000 a piece that the hospital makes off of placentas.
I should have done that.
I know. It's crazy. And you're not allowed to sell your placenta, but the hospital is allowed to sell your placenta.
I had 8.
There we go.
Could have made some money with that.
I know, right?
Moving on, we got another clip of something else that's not supposed to be able to move. In the clip, we see a beautiful young lady taking a selfie video with a statue in the background. We see what looks like a bronze statue standing beneath a light. The lady filming claims she can see it move, but sincerely we don't see much, at least from my end. She moves on to the other areas and we see other statues, and at some point she felt it was the same statue following her, but she mentions that it's not. There are some in the paranormal community who believe the ladies might be right. A few others shared similar experiences from the same area, which is Springfield, by the way. Some pointed out that it might be pareidolia, and a few mentioned that there are performers who pretend to be statues. Those people usually only come out during the day, though. The easiest way to solve this is to ask someone who lives in Springfield to comment. Homer Simpson, are you out there? So if there's anyone who lives in Springfield amongst our family here, please do comment. We want nothing but the truth.
Okay, that? Okay, I don't think I can sleep. What the fuck? What the actual fuck? That's a statue, right? He's gotta tell me that's a statue. It's made of bronze. I hope, dear God. What the f***? Springfield, make better choices. Okay, that is terrifying at night. Put a light on that.
So we've already looked at a mechanical arm that can be controlled from afar. Why not look into a mechanical head too? The head on your screen is supposed to belong to an intelligent companion robot. There's someone interacting with it and she sounds Chinese. Although her English is limited, the robot somehow understands and responds to her accurately. If it's not all pre-programmed, well, then this is interesting. Are we getting closer and closer to intelligent robots that will be less dependent on us and able to make intelligent decisions? It sounds interesting, but it's a double-edged sword.
Speak English. Emma.
Has been switched to English words.
How are you?
I'm just a text at J-Star, so I don't have feelings or experiences, but I'm here and ready to assist you. How can I help you today?
What's your name?
My name is Emma.
You are very beautiful.
Thank you for the compliment. If you have any questions or need assistance with something, feel free to ask.
Do you have a fly?
As an AI, I don't have personal experiences or family members, so I don't have a boy or any children.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
This looks like a giant rug with a strange image of some sort of god on it. There are people all around taking pictures and videos as the rug gracefully ascends into the sky. What are we looking at here? Could it be some sort of traditional cultural practice or perhaps an impressive piece of artwork? The scene is captivating and puzzling. The image on the rug appears to be intricately designed, possibly depicting a deity or a mythical figure, which suggests it might be part of a religious or cultural ceremony. The way it moves, almost as if it has a life of its own, adds to the spectacle and mystery. Some commenters believe it could be a modern art installation, utilizing advanced technology to create an illusion of flight. Others speculate it might be a part of a local festival or a traditional event that incorporates such fascinating displays. What do you guys think?
Still on the topic of trail cams, a man set up his camera in a remote mountain area far from any human activity. This spot was known for its absolute solitude, which made what he discovered all the more disturbing. When he reviewed the footage, he came across this chilling image, a woman standing with her back to the camera. She appeared to be wearing a short dress, or perhaps it was just an oversized shirt. But it wasn't her clothing that made his blood run cold, it was her feet. They didn't look human at all. Instead, they resembled hooves. Considering the time and isolated location, the man is certain no one else was anywhere near the area, adding the extra layer of mystery to this unsettling discovery. What do you think? Could this be a prank, a trick of the light, or something far more sinister? Let us know your theories below. Let me tell you about this intriguing and hauntingly beautiful place, the island of Gaiola. It's off the coast of Naples, Italy. This small, picturesque island looks like a slice of paradise with its quaint charm and clear blue waters surrounding it. But don't let its serene appearance fool you. This island is said to carry a dark curse. The stories surrounding Gaiola are as mysterious as the island itself. Tragedy seems to follow its owners. Back in the 1920s, the owner at the time, a man named Hans Brons, met a gruesome end. He was found dead, wrapped in a carpet, under circumstances that remain murky. Not long after, his wife tragically drowned in the sea surrounding the island. But the misfortune did not stop there. A German industrialist who later bought the island succumbed to a fatal heart attack while staying there. Another owner, a Swiss writer, fell into despair and took his own life in a mental hospital. These stories are not all. Nearly every person who's owned it has faced some form of calamity. So is it a mere coincidence, or does this island indeed harbor a curse? Let's take a look at this next image. It's quite blurry, but there's something eerie going on here. This photograph was taken by a woman back in 2007. She was walking through an alley late at night when she started feeling uneasy. According to her, there was no one around. She kept looking back but didn't see anything unusual. Feeling alarmed, she held her phone behind her and snapped a few pictures as she continued walking. When she got home and examined the photos, that's when she noticed this. On the left side of the image, there's a shadowy figure. It looks like a person wearing a long coat, but it has an almost ghostly appearance. At first, you might miss it, but once you see it, it's hard to ignore. Just look at that. What could this figure be? The woman could not explain it, and to this day, she's no idea who or what was following her that night.
Humans are one of the most cunning and dangerous creatures in the world, and this could very well be our downfall.
There's some kind of object that's suspended in the air. It's hard to tell. It's pretty small.
Recently, military whistleblower Danny Sheehan came forward with some startling information. The US military is allegedly deploying soldiers to seek out alien technology and bring it back for their own use. It's no wonder they have been evasive when asked about alien control in UFOs. They want to harness alien tech to gain military dominance around the world. But if you ask me, this seems like a recipe for disaster. On one hand, the potential benefits of such technology could be enormous, leading to advancements in medicine, energy, and more. However, the risks are equally significant. By attempting to take alien technology, we may be provoking entities that are far more advanced than us. It's like a modern-day Pandora's box. Once opened, the consequences could be catastrophic. The possibility of a retaliatory strike from these extraterrestrial beings is not something to be taken lightly. What do you think about these revelations, though? Do you believe we should be pursuing alien technology, or is it too dangerous? Imagine walking into your room and seeing a black cat doing this. Given how people often feel about black cats and associating them with superstitions and bad luck, anyone seeing this wouldn't be happy. This prompted the lady in question to start recording, and it only got worse with time. As you can see in the footage, the cat begins to twitch with its neck stretched out in an unusual manner. The woman understandably gets scared and keeps her distance while continuing to record. A commenter mentioned that the cat might be having a seizure, which is a plausible explanation for the strange behavior. Seizures in cats can look quite alarming, with twitching, muscle contractions, and unusual postures. If this is indeed a seizure, then this is sad. Are there any cat lovers or vets here? Can you confirm if we're dealing with a cat acting evil or one that needed its owners and they ran away? Water is a fundamental part of life on Earth, but here's a fascinating fact. Scientists believe that much of the water on our planet is older than the sun itself. Yeah, you heard that right. Older than the very star at the center of our solar system. Research suggests that water in the form of ice originated in interstellar space long before the sun and planets formed. It likely came from the solar nebula in its massive cloud of gas and dust that eventually coalesced to form our solar system. This ice carried in ancient molecules dating back billions of years, which eventually became part of Earth's oceans and other water systems. This doesn't mean Earth itself is older than the sun, but rather that the ingredients making up its water existed long before our solar system took shape. There are cultures that believe that our solar system once inhabited a superior race until a cataclysmic event wiped them out and restarted life as we know it, with humans being the superior race. If we're to believe this, those cultures are not entirely wrong. What do you think? Disney has long been a hotbed for conspiracy theories, and some of them are quite unsettling. Let's take a look at a few examples. One of the most discussed topics involves Mickey Mouse himself. When the iconic Mickey Mouse silhouette is turned upside down, it spells the word wicked. This has led people to question whether there was a hidden message in Disney's designs. Then there's the Walt Disney signature. The way the letters W, D, and Y are styled bears a resemblance to the number 6. Put together, some interpret this as a covert reference to 666. Are these subliminal messages deliberately placed to hint at secret affiliations, or are they just coincidences blown out of proportion?
Minute encounter. between a glowing blue barbell-shaped UFO, half the length of a football field in size, that came from 3 witnesses, including a Pentagon engineering contractor. This happened in southwestern Ontario in August 2013, about 11 years ago. One of the witnesses describing an indigo plasma that covered most of this craft, claiming the craft rotated slowly for about 6 or 7 minutes while emitting an electrical spark-like shower. One witness attempted to film the craft with his camera phone, only to get static when he did, despite the camera working before and after the encounter.
Back in 2013 in southwestern Ontario, 3 people witnessed a UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon. One of the witnesses was a Pentagon official engineer, adding credibility and intrigue to the sighting. According to their accounts, there was a barbell-shaped craft in the sky. The initial photo taken was grainy, making it hard to discern details. However, after the image was enhanced and worked on, this is what they came up with. The barbell shape is unusual and unlike any known aircraft, which has fueled speculation and debate. Some suggest it could be a military secret project, while others lean toward the possibility of extraterrestrial origin. What do you think? Could this be an advanced human-made craft, or is it something from another world? A man takes a video of how he gets to his room when he gets home. It's not clear if he lives in a house or an apartment, but the turns and stairs he has to take make it look like a journey of doom. Take a look at what I'm talking about.
Oh shit.
I'm here.
The path he navigates is like something out of our horror movie. Dimly lit hallways, creaky stairs, and narrow passages. Each step seems to lead deeper into a labyrinth. You can almost feel the tension as he moves through the shadows, the anticipation building with every twist and turn. When he finally reaches his destination, his room is very small. Just look at how confined the space is. The eerie walk to get there and the cramped quarters make it feel like he's living in a nightmare. Now let's plunge into the mysterious depths of the ocean. A deep-sea camera positioned 421 meters underwater was quietly filming a squid when something extraordinary happened. Out of nowhere, a burst of light streaked across the screen, moving downward at an incredible speed. It was bright, luminous, and eerily swift, leaving scientists and viewers alike stunned. What could this be? Could it be a bioluminescent creature, a species yet to be discovered with abilities that seem almost otherworldly? Or perhaps it's something entirely different, like sonoluminescence, a phenomenon where intense sound waves in liquid create brief flashes of light. Take a closer look. What do you think? A new deep-sea life form, a natural phenomenon, or something we have never seen or began to understand? Let us know your theories below. Do you see anything unusual? No? Well, take a look at the left side of the capture. Do you see it now? A family went out but realized their home security cameras were picking up movements. This prompted them to review the clip, and they saw what looked like a ghostly girl standing in the corner. They asked it to get out, but perhaps, if it were me, I'd be the one getting out, because I don't think I'd be winning in a battle with an evil spirit. What say you? There's been a lot of chatter about how scientists might have the ability to create fake clouds and even fake natural disasters. This brings us to the recent and mysterious death of billionaire Mike Lynch, which occurred on August the 19th, 2024. Lynch died on his billion-dollar yacht after it was reportedly capsized by a tornado that many people now suspect wasn't a natural occurrence. Lynch was in the midst of developing groundbreaking technology that could have revolutionized the industry. At the same time, he was embroiled in a significant legal battle. The circumstances of his death have raised eyebrows, especially when it was revealed that radar footage from the area was mysteriously missing. This has led to speculation that powerful elites, who some believe control global events, might have orchestrated the so-called tornado accident. The idea that humans could now have the capability to create natural disasters is truly terrifying. It raises serious questions about the events we've been attributing to accidents or natural causes. If this technology exists, it suggests that some of these so-called natural disasters might not be as natural as we have been led to believe.
What the fuck is that? What is that? Yeah, what's that? What is that?
What do you do when you're out in the woods and spot something strange and potentially alien? Well, if you asked me before we watched the clip, I would have said run, but not these brave lads. They decided to investigate. They notice there's something strange moving in the bushes, and instead of retreating, they get closer while laughing and set their cameras. Once their camera is set in place, they try to find the creature, and, well, let's just say the few seconds we see it point to the fact that there is not anything from our planet. See those hands? They couldn't belong to any land animal we know of. This has led to different theories. Some believe it's alien, while some think it's a previously unknown cryptid. You guys see the clip. Where would you put this one? If you were thinking that's the moon, well, you might have to think again. That's not the moon, and a few seconds in, it becomes apparent because we see smaller light sources hovering around this large light source. Naturally, when this was uploaded, it led to numerous debates. Some wanted to insist it was the moon, but the one who recorded stated the moon was also up that night in a different part of the sky. Going beyond the large light source, you have to wonder what the tiny moving ones are. Some think the whole thing is just a UFO moving through the sky with maybe smaller scout ships, whereas others think there's something wrong with the recording device and they're probably just spots. While that does sound logical, if they were just spots based on the camera's recording, then the one recording shouldn't have seen them with his or her naked eyes. Anyway, maybe I'm getting a bit ahead of myself, but what do you guys think? The sun is undoubtedly one of the most powerful and untouchable forces in our solar system, a place where no human could ever survive, let alone approach. The extreme heat alone would melt anything that came close to it. But back in August, a baffling piece of footage emerged from Ohio. Someone captured what appeared to be the figure of a person silhouetted against the blazing sun. Take a moment to think about it. How could this even be possible? Humans can't fly unaided, and even if they could, no known technology could allow someone to withstand the sun's immense heat. And the figure doesn't appear to have any visible gear or protection. So what do you think this mysterious figure could be? This footage was captured by a man during a walk through the field in the woods on a hot afternoon. In the video, you can see a patch of brown fur against the green plants, partially hidden by the foliage. The person who shared the footage claims that this is a baby Bigfoot resting on the grass, blending into its surroundings. However, not everyone is convinced. Julius argues that what we are seeing is not a cryptid but a baby bear. He points out that the fur and size seem more consistent with a young bear, which is known around these areas. The footage remains ambiguous, with viewers divided on whether this is evidence of a young Bigfoot or just a regular bear cub. What do you think? What does this look like to you? A dinosaur, right? Well, these creatures are meant to be extinct, yet here we are watching an alleged clip of one of them out in the wild. The individual who uploaded the clip didn't give out any more information because he didn't want to be found. This has got many thinking that this might be genuine footage. Others also think it's just someone playing a prank on the community. Now, given the limited information, it's hard to say with certainty which of these it is. The quality of the clip is also so low that it prevents us from doing any thorough analysis. So let's go with our guts on this one. What does it say to you? A woman working the night shift as a security guard shared a bone-chilling experience.
So, there is somebody standing right there. Oh! My camera just went out. But there's nobody over there. See? And he's gone! Oh my
According to her account, the night began like any other, a routine bunch of rounds through the facility, ensuring everything was secure. However, as she made her way through the premises, she couldn't shake off a strange sensation. It felt as if an unseen presence was lingering nearby. Later, when she returned to the monitoring room to watch the cameras, she noticed something peculiar. On the screen, there was a figure standing at the front gates. Startled, she decided to double-check by peering out of the window to confirm what she saw. But when she looked, the area was completely empty. No one was there. The unsettling encounter had left her shaken and puzzled. Was it a technical glitch on the camera or something far more eerie?
So, there is somebody standing, but there's nobody over there.
This is a photograph of indigenous chiefs taken just years ago and displayed in the residential school in British Columbia. At first, it looks like a simple, solemn image, but when you look closer, focusing on the trees behind the men, something peculiar stands out. There, hidden among the foliage, is what appears to be a dark face. You can distinctly make out the eyes, nose, and mouth. It's haunting, to say the least. Could it symbolize something tied to the location's history? Perhaps a lingering spirit from the past?
There are lots of strange lights in the sky that have led to many tales and speculation. Mostly it's alien related, or skeptics believe it's just some sort of hologram display. Take a look at this one, however. There are orange orbs in a line in the sky. The orbs seem to be appearing in a strange line, and as the ones behind vanish, the line appears to move. The way the orbs vanish and reappear in sequence creates a sense of purposeful motion that's hard to explain with conventional means. One popular theory is that these lights are of extraterrestrial origin. Many UFO sightings involve orbs of light, often described as moving in ways that defy conventional aircraft capabilities. Could these orange orbs be an alien craft moving through our atmosphere, or is this one possibly observing and even attempting to communicate with us? Share your thoughts in the comments section. Imagine this. You walk into your bathroom to take a shower, only to find this eerie scene. The shower head is floating in the air, water streaming out, moving like some sort of snake while the cord dangles and slithers in the air. The person who took this footage was understandably spooked at first. Somehow, despite how spooky it looked, they recorded the strange sight, capturing the unnerving way the showerhead seemed to defy gravity and logic. After having enough of this bizarre and unsettling experience, they bravely hit the showerhead and it came crashing down. Talk about freaky. The question on everyone's mind is this real? The one who uploaded it insists it's real, but everyone else thinks it's edited footage. What do you also think? Ever encountered something this bizarre in your own home? Let us know in the comments section.
Ever since I saw Aragog trying to eat people he considered friends, my fear of spiders has been heightened, and seeing this clip does not help matters. I know there are big spiders out there, but well, this one feels like it's abnormally large. This left me wondering if it was supernatural, which put me in my research mode. After lots of reading around, I'm certain that this might be the Goliath bird eater. For those unfamiliar with it, the Goliath bird eater is the world's largest spider by mass, native to the rainforests of South America, with a leg span reaching up to 12 inches and weighing as much as 6 ounces. Despite its name, it rarely eats birds, preferring insects, small mammals, and amphibians, and uses its intimidating size and urticating hairs to defense. Interesting, huh? Anyway, do you think I identified it correctly, or is there more to what we see here? A man stumbled upon this massive creature clinging to the stem of a tree in his backyard. It wasn't just any insect. This thing was gigantic, about the size of a human head. Just look at it. It's not every day you see a bug that enormous. But how did it even get there? The man tried to identify the creature by searching online, but came up empty-handed. This has left everyone scratching their heads. It doesn't look like a species of moth, beetle, or cicada we're unfamiliar with. Perhaps it's an invasive creature that travels from another part of the world. Well, who knows? Julius, our science whiz, says it's probably AI, but hey, we're gonna keep an open mind about it.
Oh my gosh. He's talking.
So I wasn't crazy.
No! What the heck? That's crazy.
Yeah.
What else could it say?
I don't know. I don't even know
Tweet,
what
tweet,
he's
tweet.
saying. Tweet, tweet. The bird is actually...
It is talking, I swear to God.
2 girls woke up in the morning to find an unexpected visitor on the roof of their car, a bird. But here's the thing, the bird was talking, and it wasn't a parrot. The bird kept repeating a phrase that sounded like, dig a tunnel. At first, I thought this might be some kind of government surveillance bird. You know, one of those conspiracy theories about fake birds being used to spy on people. But after doing a bit of research, I found out there's a much simpler explanation. It turns out there are other birds besides parrots that can learn to mimic human speech, and one of them is the myna bird. Myna birds are known for their abilities to learn replicate sounds they hear frequently, including human speech. They're quite the chatterboxes and can be trained to speak just like parrots. So while it might seem strange and even a little creepy to find a talking bird on your car, it's just nature being fascinating. The next time you hear a bird talking, don't jump to conclusions about spy birds. Just appreciate the wonders of the animal kingdom.
What the heck? That's crazy.
Yeah.
What do you see when you look at this clip? I'm not the only one seeing these two blue blips, right? They remain stationary in the sky and do not move for the entire time this is being filmed. The only change visible is toward the last few minutes of the clip, where they change color from blue to white. Now, this has everyone in my team wondering, is this true footage, or is someone trying to pull a fast one on us? If this is true footage, what are they doing up there, and are we even safe?
What is it? Rayland!
Two women were working a late-night shift and had stepped outside by the side of the road when they noticed something eerie in the darkness. There, in the shadows, was a strange figure. It had a human-like shape, but it wasn't solid. Instead, it appeared shadowy, blending into the dark surroundings. The way it moved toward them sent chills down their spines. Could this be one of those mysterious shadow people that many have reported encountering, or was it just a trick of the dim light?
What is it? Rayland!
What the fuck is that?
This next one was recently shared footage on TikTok detailing a series of unsettling encounters the one recording had with an apparition. In the first clip, he was out walking his dog when he noticed two glowing orbs in the distance. They hovered far ahead, and after a few seconds, they vanished without a trace. But that was not the end of it. Moments later, the eerie sound of footsteps began approaching him, though no one was visible. Then it appeared. A humanoid figure, not solid, but more like an orange-tinted translucent shape resembling a person. In another instance, the same apparition was caught lingering in his front yard in the dead of night. The faint glow and otherworldly presence matched the figure from his earlier encounter. Most people are calling it a shapeshifter, but shapeshifters are believed to be tangible entities capable of taking physical form. But this apparition doesn't fit the description. It's not corporeal, yet it repeatedly makes itself known to him in unmistakable ways. What could this be?
What we're looking at here is definitely unsettling. A shirtless person with a face that looks almost inhuman. The face is contorted with no visible nose, just two holes where the eyes should be, and a mouth that appears deformed. It gives off a very eerie, unnatural vibe. Julia suggests that this could be a mask, which makes sense considering how distorted and otherworldly the features are. Aaron insists it's an otherworldly being. What do you think? Have you wondered what celestial beings might look like? Well, if this next clip is to be believed, then this is your chance to not just wonder, but see. The footage starts off with a few individuals pointing at the sky. A few seconds into the clip, we realize why they're pointing. There's a golden glow in the sky. A closer look, and you realize there's what looks like a temple in the glow. How is that possible, you ask? The simple answer, well, it shouldn't be. Naturally, once this was posted online, it was going to lead to a debate. The religious among the paranormal community insist that this has to be a sign from a deity. Other members of the community disagree and state that this is definitely a doctored clip. You've seen the clip as well, so what do you think?
let's take a look at this next footage captured by a trail camera deep in the woods. At first, the video seems pretty ordinary. You see a deer grazing peacefully, minding its own business. But then, out of nowhere, something startles it. The deer looks up, freezes for a moment, and then bolts away as fast as it can. Now, deer are naturally jumpy creatures. As prey animals, they're hyper-aware of any sudden movements or sounds. But what could have spooked this one? At first, there doesn't seem to appear to be anything out of the ordinary. The other side of the woods looks calm and empty. However, zooming into the area where the deer was looking, you can make out a shadowy figure. It's faint, but it's shaped like a person moving through the trees. Could it be a hiker? Maybe. Perhaps a ghost hiker. When you hear Appalachian, you already know the story is about to take a wild turn. This footage was shared by a resident living near the Appalachian Mountains. Late at night, he was returning home when he noticed something strange in his neighbor's driveway. There on the lawn was the shape of what seemed to be an invisible creature. The faint outline of its form could just be made out, but it didn't seem to make sense. He stared at it for a while before realizing it looked like a goat standing there calmly munching on his neighbor's lawn. Take a look. Do you also see a goat or something else?
شنو فيه؟ يما وايش قاعد يصير؟
A woman shared this video she took while hiking near a waterfall. In the video, from a distance, you can see another woman in a pink dress. She seems to be swaying in different poses. It's unclear whether she's dancing or performing some sort of ritual. She continues this for a while, and then, at the end, she moves to the edge of the rock and falls forward into the large flowing waterfall. There's no information about whether she was okay, under the influence of something, or even what exactly was happening. We don't even know how far the fall was, whether it was a short drop or a long, dangerous drop. What do you think could have been going on here? Have you ever wondered how animals communicate verbally, especially bees, with all the buzzing? Well, one curious man decided to experiment with this idea. He took 2 plastic cups, coiled the insides with wire, and joined the bottoms together, creating a sort of makeshift communication device. With this setup, he found a bee minding its own business on the ground. He carefully covered the bee with one end of the cup. Now, instead of hearing the typical buzzing sound you'd expect, what emerged from the other end of the cup was something quite strange, a tiny, almost human-like voice mumbling. It was hard to make out the words, but the sound was eerily similar to human speech, just in a much smaller and distinct form. How is this possible? Could it be the bees have a way of communicating that we haven't fully understood, or was this some kind of auditory illusion created by the makeshift device? I must add that most of the reactions from this clip were laughter, but what if? Just what if? If someone told me I would be reviewing a shadow lashing out or hitting someone when I began my day-to-day, well, I would have laughed, but that's exactly what we see in the clip playing on your screen now. The woman in the footage is named Kays. According to her, she was simply heading out for a quick errand, nothing out of the ordinary. That's at least what she thought until she approached the front door. There, something unseen grabbed the hood of her jacket and yanked her backwards with such force that it knocked her to the floor. No one was behind her, no hands, no explanation, just the feeling of something pulling. Startled, she tore the jacket off and backed away with her heart racing, and that's when things took a darker turn. Far around the corner, a figure appeared, not just any figure, but something tall, faceless, and completely shrouded in shadow. It was so massive that it had to duck to pass through the doorway. There was no mistaking it. This was not human. Panicked, Kays ran into the kitchen, shouting at the entity to leave her alone, but instead of retreating, the shadow rushed at her with terrifying speed. She bolted into the bathroom and locked the door, shaking and breathless. Her dogs erupted into a frenzy of barking, clearly sensing that something unnatural had invaded her home. Somehow she survived the experience, but that left her and us with a lot of questions. What exactly are we looking at here? Why did it attack her? Would it be coming back again? I know I usually have answers to these rhetorical questions, but today I simply have no answers.
Leave me alone!
Would you drink the blood of your spouse? Well, Megan Fox and MGK do that. They drink each other's blood for ritual purposes. She even mentions that he's more radical when it comes to it, and he wouldn't mind cutting his chest out with a piece of glass and asking her to have his soul. Sounds cute, right? She even adds that a version of that has happened, even if not exactly as she described. That's saying a lot. Now, why would you drink each other's blood in the name of a ritual? To some, it's just another edgy Hollywood couple doing weird stuff for attention. But for others, this isn't just romantic theatrics, it's a glimpse into a much darker, possibly occult underworld. Blood rituals aren't new. In fact, they've been practiced for centuries by secret societies and mystical orders who believe blood holds life force energy, a spiritual currency of sorts. And here's where it gets stranger. Conspiracy theorists claim that many elite celebrities participate in symbolic or even literal rituals, some tied to ancient belief systems, others to supposed modern-day cults that operate behind the glitz and glam of the entertainment world. These rituals, they say, serve to strengthen bonds, manifest fame, or even make pacts with spiritual entities. Some have even linked this behavior to the idea of soul binding, where blood acts as the key to tie two beings together beyond the physical, possibly even across timelines or lifelines. And considering Megan Fox once referred to herself as a witch and spoke of astral travel and portals, the dots almost start to connect themselves. Is this just a vampire aesthetic gone wild, a quirky love language, or something deeper, maybe even spiritual warfare, wrapped in designer clothes and red carpets? One thing's for sure. Whatever Megan and MGK are doing, it's got people talking, and in a world full of secrets, symbols, and shadows, maybe that's the point.
I guess drink each other's blood might mislead people, or like people are imagining us with like goblets and we're like Game of Thrones drinking each other's blood. It's just a few drops, but yes, we do consume each other's blood on occasion for ritual purposes only. It is used for a reason, and it is controlled where it's like, let's shed a few drops of blood and each drink it. He's much more haphazard and hectic and chaotic, where he's willing to just like cut his chest open with broken glass and be like, take my soul. Let me bleed on you. It doesn't not happen, let me tell you. Maybe not exactly like that, but a version of that has happened many times.
Almost everyone enjoys that fizzy, iconic taste of Coca-Cola. In fact, I'm taking one now as I work on this video. It's sipped in homes, restaurants, and street corners all over the world. But with the rise in diabetes and other sugar-related health conditions, many have turned to what they believe is a healthier option: diet soda, especially Diet Coke, which is proudly marked as having zero sugar. But does zero sugar really mean it's safe? Well, not quite. Recent studies have begun raising serious concerns about the use of Diet Coke's main ingredients, aspartame, the artificial sweetener that gives it this signature taste without the sugar. Here's what research has revealed. Aspartame may actually spike insulin levels, ironically something people with diabetes are actively trying to avoid. Even worse, it has been linked to inflammation in the blood vessels. Some studies suggest it causes immune cells to attack artery walls, which can lead to the growth of plaque inside those arteries, putting your heart at risk over time. And that's not all. While Diet Coke is marked as a healthier option, many health experts are now saying it might be more dangerous than originally thought, especially if consumed regularly over time. The truth is, the label might say zero sugar, but that doesn't always mean zero risks. Speaking of strange and unknown life forms, what do you think this is? Alien, right? Those were my first thoughts too. The funny and weird thing, however, is that no one knows where this clip came from or who was behind the recording. It certainly does look like an alien life form, but doesn't look like any creature we're used to seeing. But then again, when we strip creatures of their flesh and look at their skeletal makeup alone, they sometimes look weird. Believe me when I say you wouldn't believe what the skull of a cat looks like. Well, back to the subject at hand. What do you think this is? Think it's legit, or is someone pulling our legs? Would you drive on a road that's between two cemeteries at night, especially when you've been told strange things happen to people who do? I know I wouldn't, but the man whose dash cam recorded this did. He ignored all warnings and stories and went through the place. As he was going through the path, it looked normal and quiet till something crossed him. It was a strange, floating figure, and it scared the living daylights out of him. Did I say daylight? You know what I mean, it's already night after all. Anyway, he told everyone his experience, and initially they ignored him, thinking he was making fun of them, till he showed them this clip. He also uploaded it online seeking answers, and everyone told him he was lucky to be alive. No one could, however, tell him what he'd encountered. Can you guys solve the mystery? Imagine going to bed, drifting into a dream, and waking up to watch it play back like a movie. Sounds like science fiction, right? Well, not anymore. Scientists have developed an experimental headset powered by artificial intelligence and brain scanning technology. They can record and replay your dreams. Using fMRI to scan brain activity and advanced AI models to decode the visuals, this device captures what you see in your sleep and attempts to reconstruct it in actual images. It's like peering into the deepest corners of your subconscious and watching the footage. While it's still in its early stages, the implications are both fascinating and eerie. The AI doesn't just guess, you train it with your own brain data. Eventually, it starts recognizing your dreams and what they look like based on how your neurons fire. Think of it as a dream translator, turning abstract thoughts and visions into something real and watchable. Some of the test subjects even claimed the images matched the feelings of their dreams, not just the visuals. Now imagine where this could go, controlling dreams, recording them, even modifying them. But here's where it gets wild. What if this technology falls into the wrong hands? What if governments or secret agencies, already rumored to have been experimenting with dream control since the Cold War, used it to spy on the unconscious mind? What if someone could extract memories you thought were long buried, or worse, plant new ones while you sleep? Pause and think about that. Maybe this headset is just the beginning, and the dream world is about to become the next battlefield. I know you're about to scream not possible, but think of all the things AI has learned to do in less than a decade. Do you still think it's impossible? Someone recently shared a strange video online asking if you would swim in it for $1 million. In the footage, there's what looks like a body floating in the water, moving around in a way that has left people questioning its origins. While some suggest this could be a ballast tank, the truth is a bit different. A ballast tank is an enclosed section of a ship designed to hold water, keeping the vessel stable when there's no cargo or during rough seas. But this isn't a ballast tank. What we're actually seeing here looks more like a well deck. A well deck is an open part of a ship that's typically located near the middle or bottom, where it's often used to load and unload small boats or equipment. Unlike ballast tanks, well, decks aren't completely enclosed. They're more open to the elements, making them more accessible for various ship operations. This setup is far less hazardous compared to a ballast tank, which is completely submerged and sealed off deep in the hull. Next, we head to Florida, where this clip was recorded. Imagine seeing this in the skies as you take a stroll through the city. What would be your first thought? If you said aliens, well, you wouldn't be alone, because that's exactly what the ones who uploaded the clip felt they were dealing with here. Personally, when I saw it, I felt it was a convincing take, but Aaron, our conspiracy theorist, asked me to double-check because, well, he didn't want issues with Julius, our in-house scientist. After doing some checks, I came across a comment on the same video that had been shared on a different platform. If this person is to be believed, then it's SpaceX. If not, then we can safely say it's a calculated attempt to make the truth lose its power. Personally, I want to believe this is true, but I couldn't find the footage. Can anyone in Florida confirm this for me?
What is that? Bro, there's people that live here. I don't care. What is that? Oh, you guys, I'm telling you, it's aliens. It's literally aliens, and there's.
Have you ever taken a photograph during a lightning strike? No? Then you might find these images downright bizarre. Look closely. One half of the sky is lit up like it's broad daylight, while the other half is trapped in darkness. It almost looks glitched. The person who captured these photos swears it's evidence that we're living in some kind of simulation, like a momentary rendering error in the fabric of our reality. A flash of lightning, nature's electric fingerprint, briefly pulls back the curtain and exposes a bug in the system. But not everyone agrees. The top comment under the post suggests a far more grounded theory, that it's simply a camera malfunction. Lightning moves insanely fast, faster than the sensor in most digital cameras can handle. So what we're seeing might just be the camera capturing only half a frame before the light overwhelmed it. Still, doesn't it make you wonder? If a bolt of lightning can cause the world to look split in two, light versus dark, rendered versus missing, maybe it's not just a camera glitch, maybe it's a glimpse into something bigger, something we're not supposed to see. But hey, what do we know? We're just YouTubers who have watched thousands of clips most elite organizations wouldn't want anyone seeing. That's if the conspiracies surrounding them are true. Anyway, let's move on to the next clip before someone starts stalking us. This is another clip that was sent to us as evidence of the existence of lizard people. I was about to do a strong expose on this when our intern broke down in tears. She told me she's familiar with the gays, and it's not necessarily because the person is a lizard person. She apparently has a family member who takes stimulants sometimes to help with her depression, and she claims that it sometimes gives the person an odd gaze and makes the person act socially awkward. I'm sharing this with her permission, of course, but it's a touchy subject for her. What do you guys think? Could this simply be a person on medication, or is there more to this, say a lizard person pretending to be human? So this one comes from a bus driver who had a bizarre experience during his last ride of the night. His bus was supposed to be empty, but after going by a cemetery, he noticed there was someone there with him from the camera feed in the bus. Thinking he might have missed her or her turn, he turned around to address her, but saw no one when he turned around. He went to the back to check, and as he suspected, she wasn't there. But he'd captured her in his camera some few seconds ago, and the footage was actually there to prove it. This scared them and got them thinking, what sort of person appears in a camera yet isn't seen by the naked eye? And that's when it hit him. He might have actually encountered a ghost. He then shared the clip on one of the paranormal pages soliciting opinions. Looking at the clip, my team believes that might be the case if he's telling the truth, but well, what do you also think? Every once in a while, we're told to go for scans and medical checkups to ensure everything inside is working fine. One of the most common scans we're asked to do is the CT scan. But have you ever actually seen what a CT scan machine looks like without its outer shell? Well, this right here is a CT scanner in motion, but with its casing removed, and it looks like nothing what you'd expect. The ring that calmly rotates around you when you're inside, and without the cover it becomes this fast-moving mechanical beast spinning at a speed that honestly feels kind of unsettling. With the casing off, this thing isn't just exposed, it's dangerous. The moving parts are rapid, precise, and unforgiving. And since these machines use radiation to scan its body, it's not something you want to be close to when it's operating like this. While you do that, take a look at this clip from Miami. In it, we see what looks like a triangular UFO flying in the sky. Nothing special, right? We've seen thousands of UFO clips at this point in time do just that. That's not all, though. Keep watching. Did you catch that? The craft dropped a pod. We've never really seen UFOs do things like this. Some think it's alien, and it's either dropping scouts or it's tech into the ground to scan and investigate the area. Not everyone is convinced it's alien, though. There are some who feel that the way the lights are set up on it is a sign that this is man-made. They think it's a drone delivering something. As plausible as that sounds, I think an exercise like that would have been in the news, right? Anyway, let's hear your thoughts too. What do you think's going on here? You're probably watching this and thinking, wait, is this real? Yeah, it absolutely is. What you're seeing is a furry wedding that happened in China. The couple getting married are both furries, which means they love dressing up as animal characters. Those white lion suits they're wearing weren't rented from a costume shop, by the way. They were custom-made and seriously expensive. According to people who attended, the couple chose these characters because they felt they represented their personalities and the kind of love they shared. Guests didn't just show up in regular outfits either. A bunch of them were also in full fursuits, turning the whole wedding into something straight out of a fantasy story. People who were there said it was actually emotional, with vows, speeches, and even a few tears, just all happening behind those giant fluffy heads. One person mentioned that despite how unusual it looked, it had all the warmth and meaning of a traditional wedding. At first, folks online thought it was some kind of performance or maybe a viral prank, but the couple later explained that this was 100% real and deeply personal. They said their lion personas stood for strength, loyalty, and protection, all the things they wanted in their marriage. So while it might seem wild to outsiders, for them, it was the perfect way to celebrate their love. Is this something you see yourself doing? A man found something terrifying right in his backyard. The footage he captured has shaken the internet. It happened late at night just behind his house. He noticed something crouched down in the grass, barely moving but alive. At first, he thought it might be a wounded animal, but as he stepped closer, he realized this thing looked almost human. It was completely naked, pale, and curled up on the ground. Its limbs were long, too long, and it looked extremely thin, like it hadn't eaten in days. And then it lifted its head and stared right at him, and that's when he panicked. Because this thing had glowing eyes, not like an animal reflecting light, but glowing on their own. Its face was, and its gaze was terrifying. The man didn't wait to get a better look. He turned and ran as fast as he could back inside and locked the doors. So what was it? Some viewers believe it was a skinwalker, others think it might be a rake, another terrifying creature often described as pale and human-like. Was this just a sick person out in the dark, or did this man actually catch something otherworldly lurking just beyond the safety of his home? They say that when it's not your time to die, nothing can actually take you out, and after watching this next clip, that saying might actually be true. This footage comes from a street security camera. In it, you see a man casually crossing the road, but out of nowhere, a car comes speeding straight toward him. The way it's heading, he's supposed to get hit, but there's no way around it. The car doesn't stop. It crashed right into the pavement island in the middle of the road, clearly damaged from the impact. But here's where it gets strange. The man just walks by completely untouched, not a scratch on him. It's like he didn't even notice what just happened. Let's watch that again. The car definitely hits something and there's damage, but the man walks straight through the path of the car as if it wasn't even there. It honestly looks like he phased right through it. Some people online are saying maybe the camera glitched and that a few frames might be missing, but when you watch closely, nothing seems to be out of sync. Everything else in the footage looks normal. You can clearly see the moment the car makes an impact with the street divider. So what are we looking at here? Some are saying it's a ghost, others think maybe this guy has some kind of guardian angel protecting him, or maybe, just maybe, it really wasn't his time to go and something out there made sure of that. Have you ever had to deal with a spooky kid? Well, this woman had to. While waiting for her niece, she started to record a child who was moving strangely on the neighbor's porch. She looked like she was either communing with something or performing a ritual. Personally, I felt she might have been rehearsing for a play or recital. That was at least the case, until she vanished after the woman slightly moved the camera away. Some have argued that she could have just gone inside or sat on the floor because she noticed the woman was filming. Aaron doesn't think so. He believes there's something going on with the child and that they should call an exorcist. Julius thinks that makes no sense because she's just a child being a child. I know better than to get in an argument involving those two, but you guys have seen the clip, so what do you think? This was uploaded by an individual who came across chemtrails in the sky. He wasn't exactly sure what he was looking at, but he started to realize that these chemtrails had shadows in them. Yeah, as if something invisible or cloaked was flying through the sky, casting a faint silhouette behind the trail. What's more, there were also circular trails, perfectly circular, lingering above him like some kind of celestial crop circle. This got the individual confused and maybe even a little scared. He uploaded the images online and simply asked, "What are they preparing for us?" For those unfamiliar with them, chemtrails are the white lines you often see streaking across the sky left behind by aircraft. Official explanations call them contrails, just harmless water vapor, but not everyone buys that. Some believe chemtrails are part of a global geoengineering operation. Theories range from weather manipulation and population control to even more sinister claims like the spread of nanotechnology or mood-altering chemicals. And now, with these strange shadows and loops, it's almost as if something or someone wants to be seen, but only partly. Here's the creepy part. In 2015, a leaked patent surfaced showing technology that could project 3D holograms into the sky using aerosols as a medium. Could the circular chemtrails be part of this? A test? A warning? And why do some of these trails only show up in certain neighborhoods and not in others? It raises an uncomfortable question. Are we being watched, tested, or prepared for something we can't even comprehend yet? One thing's for sure, the sky is not as innocent as it looks. A passenger was flying at cruising altitude, just zoning out and staring out the window, when he noticed something very strange. There was a shadow on the earth below, long, straight, and sharp. It looked like the shadow of a massive beam or structure stretching across the sky, but there was nothing in sight that could have cast it. No visible plane, no object in the sky, just a clean blue stretch, and yet this perfectly straight shadow was being projected downward. It's eerie. Some people who've seen in the footage say it might be from the plane the passenger was in, possibly a shadow from its contrail or chemtrail. For those who are familiar with the chemtrail theories, well, you know the rabbit hole goes deep. Some believe these trails aren't just water vapor, but are packed with chemicals being released into the atmosphere for weather control, population influence, and even cloaking technology. So is this shadow just a weird optical illusion, or did this passenger accidentally catch something on camera that wasn't meant to be seen? Someone recently shared a very strange video online with no context, just the footage, and the internet has been running wild with theories ever since. In the video, it's nighttime. A storm is raging outside and there's a glass door. Right there at the glass door, as the lightning lights up the night, you see a cat. Now, that might sound normal until you really look. The cat is just sitting there, not blinking, not moving, just this intense, unwavering stare. You think that with the storm going on, the poor thing would be looking for shelter or meowing to be let in, but no, this feline looked too calm, too still, like it had a purpose. People online are trying to figure out what's going on here. One theory says the person filming might be its former owner who abandoned the cat, gave it away, or worse, and now the cat's come back, not for shelter, but for something else. Revenge, maybe? Another theory is that it's the ghost of a pet that once lived in that home and it returned on a stormy night to find its former human. Whatever the case is, one thing is for sure. That stare was not just a random look. It meant something. Have you ever taken a live photograph and seen the silhouette of a man behind you? Me neither, but for the lady in this clip, it happened. She and her friends were alone at an unnamed location when her mom requested to see who she was with. She then took a live photo to send to her mom, and when she looked at the photograph, however, there was a dark figure behind them, only visible when the image went a bit dark. They double-checked, and there was really no one behind them. She stated that it scared the living daylights out of them, and I would be scared too if it were me. Our intern, however, believes that she might have been out with guys and faked the whole scary silhouette thing after sending it to her mom without paying attention to what she was sending. What do you guys think, though? Would you dress your baby in this? Selene Dion thinks you should. What if I told you that Selene Dion, yes, the same woman behind My Heart Will Go On, has a baby clothing line that some people are calling demonic? You're watching the video right now. The line is called Selene Nunu, and at first glance, it just looks like edgy black and white baby fashion that doesn't stick to traditional boy or girl colors. But once you take a closer look, things start to feel a little off. People have pointed out some pretty strange symbols on the clothes: skulls, stars, crosses, and even the phrase New Order. Some say it's just artsy and modern, but others believe there's something more sinister going on. There's even a scene in the promo video where Selene walks into a hospital nursery, blows black glitter into the air, and magically changes all the pink and blue clothes into neutral, darker tones. Creepy, right? Or is it just a message? A Catholic exorcist actually came out and said the whole thing was satanic, and he wasn't the only one. Conspiracy theorists started linking the brand to Illuminati symbols and secret agendas. The idea is that this is not just fashion, it's a subtle push to blur gender, erase innocence, and ease kids into a world of occult influence. Selene says that's nonsense. According to her, the line is just about giving kids the freedom to express themselves however they want. But if that's really all it is, why does it feel like there's something darker hidden in plain sight? What do you think? Is it just cool fashion for modern kids, or are we looking at something more mysterious? This next footage comes straight from a security camera set up by a homeowner, and what it captured in the middle of the night is something that no one can explain. It's a quiet night, and the yard is empty, surrounded by mesh walls with a few streetlights barely lighting the space. Everything seems normal until you look at the left side of the footage. Suddenly, a bright object descended from the sky. It's not shaped like a drone or plane or anything we normally recognize. It has this weird fluid shape, like transparent flames, and it just glides across the yard. Then just like that, the footage ends. This object doesn't flicker like fire, it doesn't move like any animal, it just drifts eerily smooth across the scene. Some viewers have called it a ghost, while others believe it could be some kind of spirit or entity, maybe something like a dream spirit or an energy being. But here's the thing. This doesn't look like any common anomaly. It's not a bug, not a camera glitch, and it doesn't behave like light glare either. So what did this camera capture? There's a reason places get abandoned, but sometimes people just don't seem to get the memo. A group of teenagers decided to explore an abandoned school in the middle of the night, thinking they'd be fine, but they were in for a terrifying surprise. As they wandered through the dark, desolate hallways, they reached an old, cracked window. That's when they saw it. Standing in the window, a girl with her head bowed down. A figure was still almost lifeless, and her presence was so unsettling that it sent chills down their spines. The teens snapped a photograph, not entirely sure what they'd just witnessed, but the moment they did, fear overtook them. With their hearts racing, they left the school faster than they had come, not daring to look back. What was that they'd just seen? Was it a ghost? A spirit trapped in the ruins of the school? Or whatever it was enough to make them run without a second thought. When I begin to experience anything I believe is paranormal, the first thing I do is leave the location and try to find help. For some odd reason, however, the man whose security camera recorded what you're watching stayed. He started hearing disembodied spirits in his home, and after doing everything he could to track them, he failed to determine where the sounds were coming from. He then resorted to what most people do: security cams and motion detection systems. After installing the system, he was home alone one day when it went off. He checked the camera and saw what looked like a woman moving from one point to the other. Bear in mind that he was home alone and did not expect anyone to be there with him. He watched the clip over and over, and he couldn't make the person out, as no one living with him looked like that. He was told to consider the possibility of it being a spirit being, but that was a tough pill to swallow. He then uploaded it online, hoping someone would give him a different explanation, but all said the same thing: it had to be paranormal, especially since there were no signs of a break-in. Yes, that's another image of the Loch Ness monster. The funny thing about this image is that it looks similar to everything we've seen. Some of the clips and images we've shown previously on this channel have the same features as this. This can only mean one thing. The Nessie is real, or someone or a group of very dedicated people love it so much that they keep making their own digital creations based on the popular images of Nessie. Don't tell the Nessie believers I said that, though. Take a look at these past images and captures, too. Don't they look similar? It's wild when you think about how long this mystery has lasted. The very first written account of a Nessie-like creature goes all the way back to 565 AD, when St. Columba reportedly saw a water beast attack a swimmer in the River Ness. Fast forward to 1933, and the Loch Ness monster exploded into global consciousness after a couple spotted a large creature rolling in the loch. That sighting, along with the infamous 1934 surgeon's photograph, gave Nessie a look, a dinosaur-like head and neck that has somehow stayed consistent across decades of sightings, from film to drone footage. What's more bizarre is how, even though the most recent captures, satellite snaps, sonar hits, and drone videos still echo that same shape, long body, curved neck, mysterious wake, either the same creature has been photobombing humanity for nearly a century, or something about that silhouette is burrowed into our collective imagination. Maybe it's a prehistoric survivor, maybe it's a brilliant long-running hoax, or maybe, just maybe, Loch Ness hides more than just dark water. One thing we're used to seeing is children running around the house and shouting and making noise. But what do you do when instead of children running around your house, you got shadows instead? Not shadows of people in the house, but shadows that seem to appear from nowhere. Sounds like a fictional story, right? But for the woman recording the clip you've been watching, it's not. After unsuccessfully trying to capture these shadows, she ended up capturing one in the clip that you're watching. Believe it or not, this shadow that passes by, according to her, isn't the shadow of anyone in the room. It's one of many shadow figures that run around the walls of her house. Members of the paranormal community think she's got a bunch of ghosts living with her. Some also think she's dealing with shadow people. Julius, our in-house scientist, however, believes we're looking at edited video. My video editor also seems to agree with him, so what do you guys think?
Wait. Come back. No, you come back. Go straight. Look straight towards me. No. Turn towards me like you were earlier. Put your back towards me.
Being home alone can be unnerving, but what if, while filming around your house, you discover that you're not alone? Two siblings were home alone when they decided to record something strange they'd noticed earlier. The sound was coming from their closet. At first, it seemed like nothing, but then through the darkness, they saw it. A pale face, motionless, ghostly, peering out from the shadows. It didn't blink. It didn't flinch. It just stared directly at them watching. The siblings were too scared to approach, so they kept their distance and filmed the closet from across the room. But here's where things get even creepier. On the closet door was a small mirror, and as it slowly opened on its own, you could briefly see the reflection of the siblings. And just as the mirror shifted, the pale figure vanished. To this day, there's no update on what they saw, or whether they ever found out who or what was hiding in their closet. But let's hope they got rid of that thing. Honestly, would you ever sleep in that room again?
Párate ahí, Pola. ¿Será que me acerco?
Sí.
Ni se ve.
Now, you guys, I love myself a good conspiracy. You know this. I think we all do. It's half the reason that we love this channel, right? It's half the reason that I love being the host of this channel. But this is interesting.
If there were only 4 astronauts on the Artemis mission, then who was filming this video? And who directed the camera towards the Earth like that?
Are you that stupid?
Isn't that concerning? If there were only 4 astronauts on the
He's
Artemis
got to
mission,
be kidding me,
who
right?
was filming this video?
He's got to be kidding me. Surely he understands drones, 360 cameras. He doesn't understand. Okay, I guess there are some people in the world that don't. That's not a conspiracy. Give me a break here.
If there were only 4 astronauts on the Artemis mission, then who was filming this video? And who directed the camera towards the Earth like that? Isn't that concerning?
With that, we end today's episode. Thank you for staying with us now. Do me a favor. Have you got any videos that you can give us? Give us a bit of a hand. I've noticed in the comments, by the way, that some of you think that we keep on showing the same footage again and again and again. We can't always get it right, but we try. So you help us out here. If you find any videos that you think that we would like on this channel, give it to us. We'll even mention you. We'll give you all the credit you want. Doesn't bother me. That's pretty cool. And I got an idea for you as well. Why don't you show yourselves? classifiedcaptures@gmail.com. Would like to see you. Send us a little camera clips of you. You know, say, hi, I'm so-and-so from so-and-so and all the rest of it, and I got a video for you. Why don't you do that? Yeah. Instead of having to have this ugly mug. Anyway, share this with as many people as you love. Share this with everybody. And I will see you in the next one. Take it easy.